How do you move on from the passing of a loved one? Hey, Jason here. And you've been watching the channel, you know I'm talking about success. And one of the things that takes to be successful is how do we keep moving on when life throws us hard blows? And sometimes one of the hardest blows that we can actually go through is the passing of a loved one, especially if it's someone that's very near and dear to our hearts. And I can speak to this from personal experience. I never would have thought January 2022 would be the year that I'm no longer married to Chantel, that she wouldn't be here physically with me, and I couldn't sit here and laugh and talk with her on a daily basis. And this is really important because this is one of those things that we're not taught. No one prepares us for this. And even when it happens afterwards, you know, you get the same thing like, oh, call me if you need me. Oh, I'll be there for you. And the truth is, that's not what you need or want. Because what you really want is the person that you are missing or you're longing for to be right there back by your side. And so this is really, really important. And so, and I didn't, I've been thinking I need to talk about this for a couple of months now. However, I wasn't in an emotional place. There was still emotional growth that I needed to do personally before I could really start speaking about it, even though I had an understanding of what I must do. And so let's go ahead and get into it. And so remember, the success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. But how do you progressively keep moving towards your worthy ideal when the person that you want to share it with is not here with you? The person that you want to make proud. And for me, I was struggling with this for a little while. And it made me even struggle with like, do I really even want to still be here? And when I talk to you about these things, I'm talking to you about this because I want you to see like, you're not the only person going through this. And I want people to also understand like, Jason isn't someone who's special. Like when you look at me, people see me and they hear me talking and stuff and they're like, oh, you're so strong. And the truth is, I'm not strong. Physical strength is not what it's going to take. So many times we've been taught to measure life on physical strength. Physical strength is how much stuff we can carry, how much baggage, how much things we can hold on to. And this time, when it's going through moments like this, you have to start practicing spiritual strength. And it's the complete opposite. If you know anything about me, you know I'm all about the universal laws right now. I'm studying everything of Bob Proctor, Neville Goddard, Abraham Hicks, plus other people. And one of the things that I've learned over the years is spiritual strength means how much we can let go. It's not about how much we can hold on to, how much stress and baggage we can carry on to. It's about letting it go and coming to an understanding. And after you come to that understanding, you have to be grateful. And it's funny because I realized this about 2 months ago, that I had to become grateful for Chantel not being here with me. And I kept hearing it over and over. Every book I was reading, all of my mentors, they was telling me, you got to become grateful. You got to be grateful. You have to be grateful. And I kept telling myself, like, how in the hell am I supposed to be grateful that the person that I love the most in this world is no longer here with me? And it took me 2 months to finally figure this out. And it came in very unconventional answers that I was looking for. So just to give you an example, just to give you a backstory, January 23rd, midnight was the time that Chantel passed away. After she passed away, I reached out to one of my mentors. Bob Proctor was still living at that time. He was sick at the time. And so the people, they gave me some stuff that he told me to do, some books to read, and I read them. And then I was feeling a little bit better, and I was getting a bit more optimistic, and like, okay, you know, at least I have Bob here. He can help guide me. Like, and then a little bit a while after, Bob Proctor passed away. And then I felt lost because I was just like, yo, I don't have Chantel here with me. She used to really help keep me on a track, on a path that I really loved doing. And then I had Bob, and I was like, you know, at least I can have that person to reach out to help me. And after he left, I was just like, what the fuck, man? That's literally what I said. Like, what the fuck? Like, why is everybody leaving me right now? Like, this isn't how I pictured life. This wasn't what I pictured things to be like. Like, it wasn't nothing on my radar of not having her, not even having Bob. And so after that, I was like, okay, there's only one person that understands truly what I'm going through at this level. And that's Esther Hicks. And so Esther Hicks lives in Texas, and if you know me, you know I'm not going back to Texas. I'm not going back to the United States to live. So that was out of the question. So I just kept sending out energies, kept doing meditations, and I just kept saying like, "Look, Esther, I know you understand what I'm going through. I need help. Like, please help me. Like, I need to understand." And then, time just kept passing. Time kept passing. Then one day, a video popped up, and it was from Esther Abraham Hicks, and it said, "How do you move on?" Or how do you move on after a loved one's passed? And then another video was like, why you don't need to be missing your loved ones. And it explained a lot of things. I'm not gonna go into the whole detail, it'd be like an hour-long video, but I'm just giving you this little snapshot of it. One of the things that she said was, we're so used to people talking to us the way, or communicating with us the way that we talk in this physical form, meaning, hearing their voice, seeing their presence, and that's just what we're missing. But when we're focused on missing that, we're actually missing out on how they're really communicating to us. It's in more subtle ways. And so when I watched that video, it kind of like an aha moment, a nugget, if Paulie's watching, because we were talking about this the other day, yesterday actually. Nugget had just dropped in my head, and it was like, okay, I know Chantel isn't dead, what we call dead. I know that isn't the case. She's just in a different form of life, in a higher form. And so with that, I was like, okay, I need to start practicing. How can I hear her better? How am I missing the signs of Chantel talking to me? And if you ever watched the TV show on Netflix, The Good Place, one of the scenes where Michael, the architect of the neighborhood, he was telling his speech. And they were like, man, dude, your speech was really rude, but we finally figured out what you were saying. He was like, I gave you like over 100,000 clues in the speech, like you wasn't listening. And that was something that really resonated with me when I heard that, now people, when a person passes on, they're talking to us in more subtle ways. And so I really wanted to start picking up on those subtle ways. And the funniest thing actually started happening. My YouTube algorithm just completely changed overnight. It was stuff in my watch history that I know I didn't watch, and that stuff that I wouldn't even go look for. And some of it came through music, and it was really interesting because if you know Chantel personally, you know her first Beyonce, her first ever favorite song artist is Mariah Carey. And I had a whole lot of songs playing with Mariah Carey, Boyz II Men, all these different songs. And then I had a song playing from someone I've never even heard of, didn't even know this person existed. And I listened to it, I was like, okay, I've never heard this song before. And I listened to it, I knew the Mariah Carey, I was like, okay, that's Chantel talking to me. But I was like, this song here, I'm like, I don't understand this one. And so I listened to it, and some of the words were like, remember me. Hold on to the images of us happy. Just don't be sad. Remember the good times. And that's just the gist of what the song was saying. And I started really resonating with it, and I started getting goosebumps. And if I get goosebumps, I know like there's something at a spiritual level that's there. And I started realizing there's ways Chantel is still talking to me on a daily basis. Sometimes I'm seeing it through people that I'm meeting. Sometimes I'm seeing it actually through YouTube, through music, things that are just popping up out of nowhere. And then it started giving me a little bit of peace. And also it started letting me become more grateful because I know she's in a better place, meaning in a place that's way different than this. And if you ever done DMT, you'll understand the spirit realm a little better. I'm not going to talk deep into that. If you want to know more about DMT and stuff like that, watch the Success Effect podcast that me and Duncan do. And that way you can, we go into more details about some of the forms of psychedelics and what they actually do and what they don't do. Because there's a lot of misconception about that. And so when I started realizing that, I started becoming more grateful, and I started realizing that not only was she in my life for a reason, she probably left my life at this specific time for a reason too. And then I started realizing a lot of the training, the books, all of these things was really preparing me for this moment to blossom into who do I want to become. Like there's so many stories, and I'll go through them through other videos of me and Chantel and a lot of our history. But if you're really having a hard time missing a loved one that passed on, you have to find a way to be grateful for them. and start listening to those subtle ways that they're speaking to you through the universe. It's not going to come how you want them to come. It's going to come how you need them to come. And the day when I heard that music on the YouTube channel, listening to it on the TV, it was exactly what I needed at that moment, and it brought me a lot of peace, and it helped me get organized in my thoughts, to where I started realizing, what do I want to do in this world now? And I realized I want to be a person that be a catalyst of change. I want to help people. I want to teach people this success stuff. I want to teach people a lot of these universal laws. So many of us are begging for this information. However, we don't know where to go get it. Most people don't even know who Bob Proctor is, even though he's the best success coach in the world. Even to this day, people are still following the principles of what he organized. And I realized that's what I want to do. I want to help people be successful. I want people to see their full potential. And through that, we have to start understanding we must evolve our emotional intelligence, meaning we have to get a grip on our emotions. We can't keep being in negative vibrations or negative emotions, depression, sadness, missing, longing, or feeling victimized. Because the truth is, I got to spend 8 wonderful years with Chantel, just me and her, living across the world, traveling across the world, and it was one of the most beautiful things ever. Most people would probably, they're dreaming of doing what I was able to do, and even more importantly, I was able to have a full marriage, meaning we didn't get a divorce, we didn't end under a dispute or something like that. We finished our vows, and that's beautiful. In this day and age of divorce, where what they say, like over 80% of people get divorced, most of the time is after the first 6 months of marriage, and we were able to finish our vows together. Like, that's a beautiful thing. And so here's 2 things that you can actually do to help you start getting a better grip on your reality after the loved ones passed on. The first one is, write a list of gratitudes. What are you grateful for them for? What did they bring to your life? How did they make your life better? How did they make you feel better? Because we're so busy in the moment of the depression that we're thinking about the negative moments only. So that this one day on January 23rd, this one day was trumping, I think, how long were we together? 12 years, I believe. I think total we were together about 12 years or 13 years. I was letting that one day trump 12, 13 years of happiness, of bliss, of being with someone that I loved, someone that, that inspired me on a daily basis. And I was letting that go away over one day. And really think about that. Are you letting all these years of your loved one go away over one day? Like, we have to really focus on that. And so that's why you want to first make a list of gratitudes. And then the second thing you want to do is you want to give yourself forgiveness. Because usually when we're in a depressed state, when we're in this very sad state or these breakdown states, what's really happening is guilt on our end. There's guilt from us feeling like, if I could have done this, if I could have done that, oh, what if this would have happened? Or could I have shown up better? And I'm telling you from personal experience, I'm being completely honest with you. I remember days where, because I was so emotionally immature, being angry at Chantel or being upset. And, I was, after this happened, I was like, if I could just go back and have those days again, I would do it different. Like, I would just go hug her and kiss her and just hold her and just tell her I love her. But the truth is, like, I wasn't in the emotional place at those times to be able to do that. I was going through a lot of PTSD issues. I was going through a lot of other issues that had nothing to do with her. And she understood, like, those moments, I wasn't mad at her. It was something that I was going through. And so that's why you want to start practicing forgiveness for yourself, because you have to let this survival's guilt go. And most of us aren't taught survival's guilt. The reason why I know it is because I went to war, and most people who do get back from war, but because they have this honor, this kind of misplaced honor of like, oh, I should have gave up my life. It should have been me. And the truth is, it shouldn't have been. It wasn't your time. And so you want to get that survivor's guilt out of the way. You want to start realizing, one, you want to see all the positive things to be grateful for in their life, that for them being in your life. Until you want to realize you lived a full life with that person. Uh, the truth is, all of us are going to come one day. We're going to leave this physical plane and go back to the spirit realm, be next to God, Allah, Buddha, whatever your religious belief is on how you look at that. I just call it the spirit realm. And we're all going to go back there one day, whether we we want to or not. The truth is, we're going back there one day, and so we have to evolve our emotional intelligence to start understanding and preparing ourselves for whenever this day happens. You know, I wish there was a calendar I could have just flipped to and be like, oh, okay, I have this many days left. But life doesn't work that way. So we have to appreciate each and every moment we have with that individual. And then we just have to understand also, we done everything we could on our end. We love them to the best of our capabilities. And where they're sitting right now, they know we love them. And they're still loving us. And they're still talking to us and sending us messages. But we just have to figure out how to understand those subtle ways. Because if you start understanding the subtle ways, you'll start seeing nobody leaves this physical plane. You know, they may not be here walking around anymore, but they're still here walking through you and walking through most of us. And so I hope you got some value from this. I know this is a little deeper. I try not to do too much of these going into the deep conversations such as this, but I feel like this is very needed. After doing my meditation this morning, this was what popped in my head. And I was like, okay, let me go ahead and talk about this. So I hope you have a great day. And please really try this advice out. Write down a list of gratitudes and then practice forgiving yourself.